Hello. I went live. I opened up like 2 minutes early because I was not sure it was actually going to work for me. So I will wait a couple minutes. Thank you for coming to my channel. My name is Cindy, and today I have a list of things that we're going to talk about. And usually I come on every Saturday morning at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. I do live in New Hampshire, so I live in the East and I have it good, I know. Usually this channel is VIP Kid Teachers, and we talk about different things with our bookings and different things that are going on with our teaching job right now. And there is a lot going on. This has been a busy, busy week with a lot of different things, even though I've been home all the time. Like I have not gone out. Let's see. Have I gone out this week? Sundays we go over to the church building, and thank you. Thank you. Yes, this is a vinyl flag from Lowe's. And I just like to put up a vinyl flag. I just really like this one. It has colors. It reminds me of spring, and I just really like it. Yeah, it's been a busy week. So, right, first of all, I wanted to talk about, oh, I got mail. I wanted to share my mail. I got mail from our friend Evelyn Joy. She is also a YouTuber, and she has a YouTube channel all about VIP Kid, and she has some really great stuff on there. She is doing some gardening. She has a variety of different things about life and mom life with kids, and you could check out her channel. And she is very kind and generous to her followers. And actually, we made a little deal. We bartered. She does some really cool paintings, and I make vinyl name tags. So we traded off. And that's a really good thing to do during this time. If you don't want to spend money, there are a lot of people that are doing some crafting type things, and maybe you have something they want and they have something you want, and you can trade off and make it fun. That's the American way, right? So this is what I got in mail, and I'm so excited. So I figured I would open that first. I have not opened it. I actually got it yesterday, and of course, I don't have my trust. Oh, here's my scissors. I don't have. Evelyn has the greatest craft scissors. They're like 9 feet long, but these are just regular scissors. So here we go. Thank you so much, Evelyn, for your generosity and kindness toward all of us. And it's a good example to me. And a good way to be creative during this time is just to think of others and trying to do something nice for other people. And it kind of takes the edge off the troubles that you're facing. And oh, I love it. I totally love it. Thank you so much. It's Dino's family. Oh, I love it. So this is great. Oh, it is so beautiful. It actually matches all the colors on my board. Now, I need to get my other name tag. She gave me a name tag, and have to get on that with the magnet and everything like that. So I love it. It looks perfect. It's perfect right there. Awesome. Thank you so much. So how did your classes go today, guys? Thank you for the thumbs up. My classes went really well. Usually I do between 30 and 40 classes per week. That's about all I can handle. And I just really don't know how people can do like 100 in a week. My eyes start going, crazy. But what I do is on a weekday, I will do 5 or 5:30 a.m. until 9 a.m. So I will either do, like this Monday, I did 3 classes, took a break, 3 classes. Sometimes I'll do 2 classes, take a break, 4 classes. So 6 in the morning is pretty good for me. Sometimes I'll do 7. If I'm really, really pushing it, I might do 8, but 7 is my comfort. And then this morning I had 6 scheduled all in a row, and my trial right in the middle did not book. So, or they did not show up. So I got paid for it, but they didn't show up. So today I did 5 in a row, 2 and then a break and then 3. So it was a perfect morning. And then tonight I have 3 classes. I had 4, one canceled out. I was going to do a short notice and I decided I'm not doing it. I'm just going to close that slot out. So I'll do 2 classes, take a break, do my feedback, and do 1 more class and be done for the night. And then Sundays I usually do 4 classes. I've thought of taking Sundays off, but I always have regulars that book, and then I'm like, oh, I just want to teach them. I want to teach them. And so that's why my Sundays remain, because I just want to keep these students. But I think that Monday in Casey's, I don't know if she decided, Teacher Casey, did you decide what we're going to talk about on Monday? Because we were going to talk about, should I take a break, maybe take a day off during the week, or should I take time off from VIP Kid? And we were going to talk about that at some point in one of the collaborations. So what are we saying? 7 classes, 1 was a starlight. Good job, Casey. Hello, Mindy. Praying for your daughter. I'm glad to hear that she's doing better. I just saw your advertisement for the cow video. I'm anxious to go back and look at that. I love your farm videos and I love your craft videos. Mindy Danforth has some really awesome, fun videos on her channel, so you can check her out. And hello, Candy and Teacher Casey. Thank you for coming, everyone. Just don't forget to give me the thumbs up. I don't see Danny today, but if she doesn't come to the live, I know she always goes back and watches. Hello, Serena. Sincerely, Serena. I have to take at least 1 day off. I need a mental and physical break. Yeah, I hear ya. I don't usually take a day off because to me, this is a fun job, but I think the longer you do it, the more it kind of wears on you. So at the beginning, you feel like, oh, this is so fun. I could do this every day. It's so easy because I'm so happy. But then after a while, it does take its toll. So taking a day off is awesome. I have a workshop for burnout on Tuesday, so we will wait a week. Oh, awesome. Okay, Casey. And yeah, so great, guys. So my classes went pretty well this morning. I wanted to share with you guys. Remember, I told you that I have 3 LPs on my WeChat. One of them I talk to now because she books my level 7 student. And I had a level 6 student last week, and he was amazing, wonderful kid. And then that night I got a message from the LP and she said, how did you like Caesar? And I was like, oh, he was great. And she's like, well, he was my student. I booked him with you. So that was pretty cool. That was the first time an LP booked me with a student. And I was so glad that I thought back on the class, how did I do? Because, hopefully I'm impressing the LP. This student was really good. Like, he probably could have done level 7. He could speak really well. And his lesson was all about, now I can't remember, something I hadn't really gone over before, science. And so it was a little for me, but he knew all the answers and he did great. And then we actually had some time at the end for free talk, which I was not expecting, because usually with level 6, 5 and 6, I don't usually have free time at the end. But I was able to talk to him and I was able to think of some good questions. I found out that he had been to America. He had actually been to Boston, the Boston area. So that was kind of cool. I got to talk about that and talked about where I lived and that kind of thing. So it was a really good class, and I was really excited that to hear that the LP had booked me. Hello, Laura H. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. So Evelyn says, I don't take a day off. I pace myself by just teaching a few in a row. So I teach 4 to 5 classes in the morning, 1 to 3 classes in the evening. So I get about 6 classes per day. Well, that's good. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. So I do, like, during the week, I just do mornings, but I've been doing Tuesday. I have 2 open slots, and most of the time they've booked, but next week they are not booked. So that's fine. I don't mind. So Tuesdays I might do 2, and then Friday night I do 2 to 3 to 4, and then Saturday night. Those are the only nights I actually teach because it can get kind of late. You're welcome, Mindy. No problem. So, how are your bookings? Are you guys getting completely booked? I see a lot of people talking about lower bookings and everything. And so far, I've gotten as many as I can handle, and I'm fine. I don't have a problem. Like Tuesday night, if the classes don't book, I don't consider that being unbooked. I consider that thank you God for a break. So that's fine with me. And sometimes if I have 6 in a row and one cancels, I will just cancel out the slot and that's fine with me. So if I can get 5 to 6 per day, then that's fine. 30 to 40 per week is about what I can handle and it's fine with me. Candy, Cindy, I have 3 weeknights booked out next week. Wow. I have about average 42 next week. Good job. So, and I am actually looking at May 1st. I will see what's on my new contract. I don't know if I'm going to get the raise or not. I know I have enough classes. I don't know if I have enough PPTs. I'm assuming yes, but I know it's a little stricter because if you're making like $8.50 per class, then it's stricter. So I don't know if I'm going to get the raise or not. I'm kind of hoping I will, but I'm kind of being prepared for a no. I have one teacher no show, but that was because my iPad wasn't turning on, like nothing was turning on. And I was there, but my IT wasn't working and I didn't get to refute it. Yeah. I think it looks great, Evelyn. I love it. It's perfect. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was camtwist. So I don't know, I have a heater right here. It's kind of hot. So I don't know if any of you are interested in doing digital rewards, but this week I was able to figure out camtwist. I'm wondering if maybe my computer is not high enough specs because I have to talk to my IT guy, but sometimes my frame will freeze. And so I don't know if that's because of my computer or if it's because of too much on my internet, you know, or what is happening. I'm a camquist and Google Slides queen. Oh, awesome. Well, I have a 13-inch MacBook Pro. And I was having a hard time with camtwist. I've gotten my SSD capability and everything upgraded. My computer's working great. So I figured out everything. I also figured out green screening and I can do all of it, but I haven't put it all together. But sometimes because it's kind of an older computer, it has 4 gigabytes of RAM. So I'm looking at newer ones have like 8 or 16. I'm thinking I want one of those, but that's a lot of money. So we'll see what happens with that. But what year is your RAM on your MacBook? It could be that. Is that like 4 GBs? I have 4 GBs of RAM, and then I have an updated SSD card, which I'm not sure of the number on that one, but it's a newer one. So, but the biggest thing I was having a problem with was, first of all, that, but then now I figured out how to get everything on a 13-inch screen. What size is your screen, Serena? I was going to connect to a larger screen, like I have in the mail a connector to, I have a bigger screen with an HD. Yeah, 4 is too small. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So I have been doing it and it has been working, but it will like all of a sudden freeze up, like stall. And so, it has been working. I have used it for some classes, but with that little bit of a glitch, I'm thinking that it's probably yeah, that's that's disappointing. But I'm looking at newer computers and thinking about a plan. And I don't know what to do because I don't know if it's worth it to me. I have to think about it. If it's worth it to me to pay all the money for a computer. I had a 13 and I bought a new Mac 2 months ago. I'm at 16. Ooh, nice. Nice. Oh, that's what I really want. Did you get a deal on it, Serena? And I'm sure that helps with making your videos and everything too. That's what I'm thinking. If I got one, I would really love it and I would use it and it would be worth it. I'm so cheap. So, is anyone getting a lot of leveled reading classes? I have 14. Wow, Candy, 14 leveled reading. I am not getting a lot. I'm getting a few here and there. I'm getting a few here and there. Yeah. Well, if you find a deal on one, Serena, let me know. I was looking at Best Buy. I was looking at just how I could go about doing it, but they're so expensive. Like you go 13 to 16, it's like what, $1,000 more. So I'm just, right now with things the way they are, it's hard to plan. Like even if I spent the money now, oh really? If I spent the money now, am I going to need it later? I don't want to just put it into something that is kind of optional, like not a total necessity. So anyway, I love the cam twist though, and doing it on a 13-inch was definitely doable. And I figured it out. I watched Amy Morganson's videos a million times, and I love her. She's a good friend of mine. But then there was another guy on our YouTubers group that did a video on how to place it all on your computer, and the way they overlap, and it worked. And if anybody's interested in learning that, I know Evelyn has a smaller screen, and maybe if you're interested in learning how to do it, I can definitely show you how to place stuff on your screen. And that makes a big difference. It was really awesome. Check out the website under the refurbished computers. Okay, I will do that. And Candy, it's okay, not too shabby. Oh, I like the bird in the mailbox, dog eating the cake. Oh yeah, those are funny. I did the little red hen last night with a student of mine, and this little girl's adorable, but she kind of would sit in her chair for regular main course classes and would hardly talk. And I could tell she could read, but she wouldn't talk much and she wouldn't answer questions. So I was like, a leveled reading class. This is going to be interesting. So I was kind of expecting to have to do most of it for her. But she actually did really well. She talked more than ever. We did the little red hen, and we did do the popcorn reading or whatever they call it, and echo reading and popcorn reading, and she went over it with me and she actually got excited about it. And so that was really awesome. So that was last night. So yeah, you just never know. You can deduct it on your taxes as being a high priced office equipment. It's not it's not a one-time deduction. Cool. Okay. I'll look into that. All right, I taught the one about Max and the giraffe and Nick and the bird on the airplane. Yeah, I've done that one a couple times. I've done a few of them, but I don't get a regular um, amount of those type classes. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is, okay, Evelyn asked about my step bet. Okay, I have joined the step bet, and it really is good for me because when you have a bad day and you just feel like, caving in, then you realize, oh, I got to get my steps in. And it kind of gets you out of the house. I can go out the house. I have a good place to walk. And sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's rainy, but it just knowing, excuse me, knowing that you have something you have to do, kind of get you out of the house. And so I will go on a walk. Now with the step bet, you join, there is a VIP kid group, and we are doing the month of April right now. And what they do for the step bet is you connect it to your phone, you sign up on your phone, you connect it to your watch or your Fitbit, and then it will give you a goal of what you should do for each week. How many active days you get, 4 active days, 2 power days, and they tell you how many would be good for you. And then you get 1 day off during the week. So sometimes I get overzealous and I think, oh, I'm not going to get my power day this week. So I got the first 2 days this week were power days. And then the last 2 days were active days. But yesterday I almost made it to a power day, but when I went to bed, I didn't really have to because I knew I already had 2 power days. So a few hundred lower than my regular power day is okay. And so Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to have to do my regular active days. So yeah, so you can, this month is only like 31 people signed up. So it's kind of gotten smaller and smaller group along the way. There's also a steppers group on Facebook that you can join. And what happens is you pay $20 and you join for the month. I do not join. I'm not in the step. You can join step bet like for the year for like $50 or something. But I just joined for the $20, and it kind of just helps me to say I want to keep my $20. If you don't, thank you for showing me your, oh yeah, I'm going to show that in a minute here. So if you don't meet your goal for the month, you lose your $20. If you do meet your goal for the month, then everybody who meets their goal in that group for that month gets their $20 plus whatever's left in the pot, from people that didn't make their goal. So right now there's 25 out of the 31 still in the step bet, and we're on week 3 of 4. So that's really good. And so the goal is really just to get your money back, not to really make money. Some people do step bet to make money, like you can do like 3 at a time and stuff like that. But I'm not really trying to make money. I just want to be pushed a little bit to make my goals. So that's what I'm doing. And I only do the VIP Kid steppers group. So I'm doing okay. I'm still in it. I did started in January. I made it for January, made it for February. I missed March, and then I'm in it so far for April. So, yeah, and so I am going to now talk about I have a little list here. I'm going to talk about my garden. I do have some seeds that I started, and they're growing. I have cucumbers, zucchini, summer squash. I have some sunflowers, lavender. I want to try to make a little bit of an herb garden where I can have, I do have some parsley. I want to do parsley and do some things that you buy and spend a lot of money on, but you can grow so easily, like basil. And so I don't have all of those plants. So I'm planning on spending some money on some starter plants at maybe Lowe's or Walmart, whichever one I get to. Or I might look at some local farmers. We also have some local farmers that might have some. I might try that first because I want to support our local people. And so I'm going to have like a place where I can have some herb type garden things. And a lot of those, they are renewable plants. They'll come up every year. And I loved Evelyn. She had a video of planting some fruit plants. That is such a great idea. I actually had some grapevines that went across the side of my fence, and I have not attended to them at all, and it is amazing how much they took over the garden. Like the shoots are everywhere, but I haven't gotten any grapes because I haven't been pruning them properly. So this is my garden area, and this is on the side of my house where, you know, the septic is on the other side. We have a well, and so it's kind of separate. We have had a pig in this area, which that the year after we had the pig was the best garden we ever had, because the pig will go through and will like clean out the entire area plus fertilize it. And so, but it's been a few years since we've cleaned it out because I've been teaching school, I've been busy, and now my husband's more into vegetables. And so I think he's more into, I'm like, you can plant lettuce so easily. Let's plant some lettuce, you know, let's watch it grow. This is one of my sunflowers that's in my window. I have some things growing, and I have done a garden before, but I've been very unsuccessful. But I think it's great. I have these friends that are helping me, motivating me, and I've already decided I am buying mason jars already. I went to the store. I bought like 4 cases of mason jars, and when I go back to the store, I'm going to buy more. And I'm going to use these to can one way or the other. So we have a lot of local farmers. So if I don't get enough to can myself, I am going to go ahead and buy from other people. And so that's what I've already decided to do. Um, I have not priced out mason jars as far as like where the best deal is. I was going to get some on Amazon, but yeah. Um, but I got some at Walmart. I think they were like $10 to $12 depending on the size for 1 case. So that would be like for 1 case. Like some of them, depending on the size, might be a dozen and some might be more. I like the smaller ones for jelly, and I like the larger ones for like other things. Quart. I got quart size, pint size, and the smaller cup size. Yeah, Craigslist. Yes, we have a lot of people that grow things. I have friends that grow things too. So if I put the word out that I will pay you money, instead of you just giving it away to people, like let me pay you something for the stuff, you know? And then I did look up Evelyn on Homestead Tessie. She did recommend that you would get a canner. So that might be something that I invest in, because that would be something that you would have every year. And she had a big, huge one. It was like a 22 quart. I don't think I would do that one. And I read the comments. It said you have to have a gas stove. I do not have a gas stove. So there's another smaller one. I think it's like an 18 quart, which I think that one was the one I thought I might get. So I'm going to look at those. Yeah, it's like a pressure cooker canner. And it's a pretty, you can get smaller ones. You can do a canner on electric stove, but this big, large one that Homestead Tessie had, the comments said you cannot use an electric stove for it. You have to get the food up to a certain temperature to kill all bacteria and to, I have made jelly without a canner. I have made jelly by just putting water in a pot, boiling it, and for a certain period of time, and make sure the water goes over the top. I've done that with jelly before, but I think that when you're doing vegetables and other things like that, like I would really like to do tomato sauce. We buy a lot of canned tomato sauce, so I would like to do that. So it's something to look into. And jelly is good. Now, jelly, what I've learned is right now is probably good to pick strawberries and make strawberry jelly or jam. And then in the midsummer, when it's really hot, is up here, it's blueberries. And then in the fall, it's grapes. Oh, thank you, Aunt. So, yeah. So, wonder if Michael's delivers. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm going to look into those things and I will let you guys know what I find out. But I'm looking at the smaller canner and I'm thinking I might put a feelers out and see if I know anybody. Like there might be elderly people that you know that have a canner that they're not going to can. And so you might want to look that up and see if that's an opportunity, you know, or even buy one on Craigslist or something like that. But something like a canner, it does heat up to pressure. So you do have to make sure that it's in good shape and it has to have a seal on it. So, yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, moderators. And so anyway, that's what I'm going to do with my garden. I've already decided I'm going to grow. I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to plant what I have. I'm going to buy more plants. Then I'm going to keep in mind that I want to can. I'm going to collect the jars because what happens with the jars is when it is time to can, you might have a hard time finding the jars. The other thing you need, Evelyn, for to make jelly, which really is nice, is if you have Sure Gel. So you might want to look for that. If you really do want to make jelly, look for Sure Gel. And if you buy that, that's the best way to make your jelly or jam is with Sure Gel. And if you see it now, buy it because when it's actually time to make it, you might not be able to find it. Yeah. And so, and you can use, like if you can use jars with covers that, like say you used up some tomato sauce in a glass jar and you save the cover that goes to it. You can with that, but you look it up and make sure you know what you're doing before you do it. So yeah, that is a possibility, but you do have to be careful that you do it correctly. So grocery stores have them. Yeah, grocery stores have the mason jars. I got mine at Walmart. Lowe's would probably have them. It's just when you get closer to the time to actually use them, they might not be available. So now's the time to buy them. And so I am collecting jars. I have seen them on Amazon as well. I just figured while I was at Walmart, I grabbed them. All right, so now the moment you've all been waiting for, sourdough bread, okay? So I made sourdough bread this week, and I just, I don't know if I knew, like subliminally, I had a feeling that we were going to need flour and yeast. So March 13th, I was supposed to go to Journey and I decided, okay, I can't go to Journey. I'm going to take the money that I would have used for Journey, like for eating and all those things. I'm going to take that money and I'm going to buy supplies for the upcoming whatever we didn't know. And so I did go to Aldi's and I got flour and I got a bunch of yeast and things like that. And I still have some flour left. I wasn't sure if we'd even have bread on the shelves. I wasn't sure what we would have. So I got some rice, macaroni, things like that that don't go bad. Cindy, can I have the blue wrench? Okay. Blue wrench. I think that's right. Okay. Hopefully that worked. And so this is but I realized that yeast is, like I sent my husband to the store. You can buy yeast in the little packets, or you can also go to BJ's and you can buy it in this block. And it's so much cheaper to buy it in the block and use a little bit of the time at a time. And what I was doing, I've done for many years because I had a lot of kids. I used yeast often, is I would put it in the freezer. And if you have it in the block and you open it up, it's a living thing. So if you put it in the freezer, it will keep longer. And a missionary friend told me about that. So I would put mine in a Ziploc bag, stick it in the freezer, and then use what I can. That would last me like a year of making bread a lot. So if you can go to one of those bigger stores like BJ's, Costco, and get a block of the yeast and then keep that in your freezer. That will last you a really long time. Or you can make your own yeast, okay? And this is awesome. I found this website. This is the King's Roost, and this website, I can also link it below, but this is the King's Roost. He says, teaches you how to cultivate your own wild yeast. So you can look for that on YouTube. All you need is a glass jar, flour. You can cultivate it from flour alone and water, or you can do flour and pineapple juice for your very first starter. And he kind of recommends like unsweetened pineapple juice. So you do 3 tablespoons flour and 2 tablespoons water or pineapple juice. And you stir that up and you let that ferment on your counter in the glass jar. One thing to remember is you do not want to use metal of anything. No metal bowls, no metal utensils. I think in the video he uses a metal whisk, but stay away from metal for some reason. And Danny, I'm thinking I won't try corn as a beginner. Yeah. Corn, I think needs, yeah, you need a lot of plants in order to have corn. I have planted a couple rows of corn and they don't grow because they have to be pollinated, and you need a bunch of corn in order for it to all do well, which is kind of interesting. You can't just grow like a stalk of corn because it won't grow. It might start growing, but it won't be prolific. So, Mindy, maybe I'll have a new goal for the day besides getting out of bed. I'll make some bread. Okay, so this fermenting process right here, if you're going to start with this starter right here, this will take you about 7 days to actually get yeast that you can use. Okay. Oh, hello, Christina. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. I'm talking all about making your own bread. Now, when I have gone to the YouTube channels that make bread, it's so funny because they're like, everybody's making bread. I'm thinking that back to when I was teaching the Chinese kids before it was our turn to be quarantined, I believe a lot of the Chinese people were making bread also. And what I've done for the last few weeks is I've taught my son how to make bread in the bread machine, because I had flour, I had yeast, I had no problem with the yeast situation. So he was just dumping everything into the bread machine and he made bread. And that is a really easy way of doing it. And I heard that a lot of the Chinese people did it that way. Yeah, Teacher Tina. Teacher Tina has a really great thing going. She and Christy Carter are hosting a Christian fellowship. We have a Facebook group and also gatherings. If you guys are interested in that, she is kind of organizing that and putting that together. And that has been a huge blessing. And I just love her testimony and how she wants to just share the truth with people and be a comfort and a help to people during this time. And it's been a real good blessing. So if you're interested in that, I missed last Tuesday's meeting because I just had so much stuff going on. I just didn't make it. I had signed up for it and then I didn't make it. So I'm sorry for that, but hopefully next time. Because I do my regular teaching every day, plus I teach my granddaughter for an hour, usually every day. And then I do like a music class. So I'm in this room like a lot of time and I'm busy all day, even though I'm just staying home. Like I am busy all the time. So hello, Kim. Hello, Kim T. Thank you for coming. Yes, I have it on my list today to reach. Oh, good. Good. Yes. Okay. Casey, I think Casey's going to interview Christina. Awesome. Oh, thank you. I didn't know if you'd miss me or not. The first week of the group was just a few people, and it was so awesome. And then the next week, it was just like so many people. We had just barely enough time to introduce everyone, which was really awesome. So then they split up into two groups. So it's just such a wonderful thing, and it's just so great. Just so you know, Teacher Tina, um, I just that was one of the things that really made it a solid for me for VIP Kid was I was just like, should I do this or not? And then when I found the Christian Facebook group, I was like, okay, so there's other Christians doing this. And then I was just so surprised with how many Christian people that were teaching VIP Kid. And that kind of drew me right in because I was like, I'm in good company. I can have support. I can feel good about being a Christian and doing this and treat it as a ministry and pray for these people. I mean, I have prayed for through the years. I went to a Christian college, and we every day after supper, we would go to the chapel and we would pray for missionaries. And they had all the missionaries in folders, like all the missionary letters. This was a big college and lots of missionaries. And they you would go to different countries. And I would pray a lot for Russia because at that time Russia was communist. And yeah, they were communists, but they also had the Iron Curtain and they were untouchables. And we knew that they were Christians there suffering. So I prayed a lot for the people in Russia. And it was so awesome that when there were prayers answered for the Russian people through that time. And so I've prayed for people through the years that I had never seen. And so when I got to VIP Kid, I thought, now I can pray for people that I actually know. I actually know their name. I talk to them and I can pray for them. So that's a really awesome part of this job. Some people say, should I do it? Um, Missionaries have gone to China. Hudson Taylor is a famous missionary, who went to China, and he loved the Chinese people and he helped many of them to come to Christ. And so we don't have to, just like we don't agree with everything in our country that our leaders do, we don't have to assume that they are not interested in spiritual things. And so we have that opportunity to pray for them by name. So I think that's really awesome. And I'm at a point now where I'm coming up on my 2 year. I'm almost to 3,000 classes. I'm almost to 1,000 five apple reviews. If my people would just give me the apples. But I feel I'm at a good place where I feel comfortable that I know people in China and I can pray for them. And I just think that's really awesome. And I just really love this job and I'm thankful for it. And even during this time, I'm thankful that I have this outlet of being able to teach. And I do have, I like I've said before, like I could spend, but I do have some money. And so that's a blessing too. And I'm able also to help. I have my friend in Honduras that he is struggling and I can share money with him and not much, but I'm able to participate in giving to someone that I actually know and is doing a good work and is using that money for God. So that's part of so many parts of this job that are a blessing to me. So back to the bread program, okay? So if once you get your starter, now you can either make your starter from scratch like this. This is for sourdough starter, but I'm telling you, this is yeast, okay? So once you make the bread with the recipe that I have, it tastes like regular bread. It doesn't really taste like sourdough. It's just a way for you to ferment your bread and to get it to rise and to have air in it. I also have two other websites that are called the Prairie Homestead, and there's another one called the Bear Pantry Show. BARE. And this is the recipe that I use. 2 cups starter, 2 cups flour, 2 tablespoons sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, and 2 teaspoons oil. So I used olive oil. You can use vegetable oil. You can use butter. So any kind of fat like that would work. Now, the one that is the Bear Pantry starter show, the Bear Pantry show. She has one, she's the one that I put on Facebook that I recommended. She has a really, she shows you exactly how to put it all together. And this is the recipe that I did. Now, once you get the starter going, you are going to what you call feed it. Okay. So, like last night, what I'm going to do with this is you separate it out and you go half. You take a cup, you put it back in the jar, 1 cup. Then you do 1 cup water, 1 cup flour. Mix it up. And within 24 hours, it ferments. And then you have something you can make your bread with. And so it's kind of interesting. So it's kind of like a science project too, which I think is kind of cool. And I just think it's really cool that, yeast is not cheap. If you want to just buy yeast, and I think that people, hello, Luann, people buy it because it's easy. You just throw it in, like for the bread that you make with the bread machine. You throw it all in the bread machine and you press the button, 3.5 hours, you have bread. That's awesome. It's great. I love it. And it's homemade bread. But with a little extra time and it's still possible, and it costs so much less money, and it's fun. So, my history is I'm a mom of 13 kids. Throughout the years, we have made lots of bread. My second daughter, I had her like make bread all the time. Like she made the rolls, the bread, whatever. Whenever we had bread going, I was just made it her job. And so my oldest daughter, she is more the cook. Like she'll make dinners and she'll make, you know, like regular food. And then Julie, my second daughter, was more like the baker. And so I had her do it all the time, which is kind of funny right now because I gave some of this. So this is the other thing. You can split this in half, give a cup to your friend or neighbor, and that's why it's called like a friendship bread. And so what I did was I had a friend down the road that's an amazing baker, and she gave me 1 cup of the sourdough starter. And so I took that home, and you start with 1 cup. The next day you split it, and then you add, your 1 cup, however it goes. And you add however much starter that you have, you add that much flour and that much water. And then you let it sit for 24 hours. Now, if I want to make bread, I actually have 2 cups in my fridge right now, and I need to make something with it. So you can make cinnamon rolls, you can make like dinner rolls. My friend that's a really amazing baker, she made hamburger buns out of the same type of stuff. So you save so much money if you make your own bread. Because even though flour might cost you a couple dollars, you're gonna use like 1 thing of flour is gonna last you for a few different loaves of bread rather than what, $3 or $4 per loaf. Hello, Cindy. So this is my sourdough starter. You call it feed it. I fed it last night, but I also took some out because I'm going to make some more bread today. And so this is my bread that I made. I wanted to show you. I just shaped it like a regular loaf of bread. Like some sourdough, they have you put it in a like a round type shape, but I just shaped this like a regular loaf of bread, and it came out perfect. Now, what I did with this, the thing that's different about this type of yeast is you're going to have to let it sit a little longer than you would regular yeast. So what I did was I Okay, so I fed it in the morning, then I let it sit a little while. Then I put a little bit of flour and sugar and the oil together. I did it just like the lady does on the Bear Pantry show, if you watch her video. And I mixed it up, and then you let it sit for like a half an hour so that the bubbles start to come. Then you put all of your dough together and you mix it in a glass bowl with a non-metal utensil. Like you could use a wooden spoon or you could use a spatula, and you kind of mix it together, and then you kind of put it together so that the whole bread is kind of all together in one. And you add a little bit of flour as needed. And then you're going to put it in the bowl with a little bit of oil, and you're going to let it sit for like 4 or 5 hours. So you have to start this earlier in the day. Then once I did that, I put it together in a loaf. Then I took it and I covered it, put it in the fridge overnight. Then the next morning, right before classes, I took it out so that it wasn't stone cold when I started to bake it. I took it out of the fridge, let it sit on the counter for an hour, and then I baked it 400 degrees for about 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. So the baking time is very short, but in order for it to rise enough, you do have to wait quite a long time. So it could take you a day or two. Now, my daughter, that she just made cinnamon rolls, and she hers look really good. I haven't made cinnamon rolls with mine yet, but this is her raw cinnamon rolls right here. And she used the same, you can use the same recipe, and you can do the same thing. I'm just going to find it for you. So she likes to, her husband has been helping the kids eat in the morning, so she wanted to surprise them. So here's her starter, and then here's her cinnamon rolls, and then she baked them, and then here's her kid eating them. He liked them. So you can make, you can even use the starter as something else. Like you could use it in pancakes, muffins, anything, so that you're not wasting it. Sometimes people will say, take half out and throw half of it away. But you could use it for something. So like I said, I have a bowl of it because I fed mine last night. And so, you could say, hey, do you have any friends that want to take, that could be something that you give during this time. And it's so funny because it's definitely a quarantine recipe because people are running out of yeast. I think some people said they've been places where there was lacking in flour, but I think that is replenishing, but the yeast is harder to replenish. But when my husband originally, way back at the beginning of the quarantine, he went to BJ's to find yeast, couldn't find it. And then I heard someone mention that at one of the stores, they put out a big rack of yeast and somebody just cleared the entire shelf off. Maybe, I don't know what they were going to do with it, but that's why, we're having these limits because people are just, saying that's something that's going to be scarce. So I'm going to grab all of it. So, but this is definitely a great recipe for this time. I'm going to go have some for breakfast. I'm going to eat it. It doesn't, I thought it might taste kind of tangy, but it actually tastes very much like regular bread. It's really not that much different. And then there are other recipes that you can add. Like I saw one recipe where you can add spinach to it, or you could make your own little variation just like a regular bread. You could make cinnamon toast bread. You could make I think I like the idea of putting something green in it. Maybe make a garlicky type bread. So it's just really good. And I actually made 2 loaves yesterday, and it looks perfect. But that's the biggest thing. Um, that's the biggest thing, is waiting long enough and making sure you know what you're doing. Don't put too much water in your substance and enjoy. So I thought I might make a couple videos about that. Years ago when I um, had my own family, I did a lot of cooking from scratch because it's cheaper. You know, it's cheaper. You can even make your own pancakes. You can make your own pancake mix. So you don't have to buy the pancake mix. You can make your own muffin mix. You don't have to buy muffin mix, just add water and an egg. You can make your own. So I did a lot of that through the years and learned those things because my mom was an amazing cook. But I was always doing schoolwork. I was always reading. My mother loved the kitchen, and she didn't really invite us into the kitchen much, except to clean up the dishes. So I just didn't really learn how to cook or anything. And then when I got married, I thought it would just be automatic, and it wasn't. So I just learned to cook and do these things. And then 7 years ago, I went to school and I was able to teach home ec. And that was one of the things that I did as a home ec class. The whole first semester, we made our own bread and we made stuff out of bread. So we started with making our own bread and learning how to do that. Then I showed them how to make bread in a bread machine, which I have 2 bread machines. You can also, if you have a bread machine, you can also make dough. If you want to just throw everything in and just put it on dough, you can have the machine mix up your dough for you. And then you can take it out and make like pizza or rolls or anything like that. So you don't have to always make a loaf of bread. You can make something else with it. But the bread machine is usually for yeast type breads, not like banana bread and stuff like that. So, but we did also make quick breads, pie crust, biscuits. Another really good recipe is baking powder biscuits. You do not need yeast for baking powder biscuits. Blake Ryan. Wow, I'm getting lots of visitors today. So I forgot that we had a chat going on. Yeah. So anyway, so the other recipe is baking powder biscuits. That is a really great way to make something to go with your meal, especially if you have kids. Now, when I made all of these things for home ec class, my one of the parents kind of complained, and she's like, "These girls are going to get fat." And I was like, "Well, the thing about it is, if we have to pare down to only a few ingredients, we might need rice, beans, and flour, right? There's a lot of things you can do with flour. And maybe it's not something you want to eat only all the time, but it might be something that you do end up eating because that's what we have. And it may not be that I eat all of this bread, but my family loves it. You know, I have kids, I have a husband, I have other people that are going to enjoy the food. I don't just make it for myself. And so baking powder biscuits is another really great thing Evelyn needs to learn. And that is something also that I did as a mother of many children, is teach the kids how to help in the kitchen. Teach them how to make toast. Teach them how to make oatmeal. Teach them how to make the simple things. And then throughout the years, they can add to that as it goes along. So, but my home ec class for the whole first semester was doing everything from flour. So like I said, we did the yeast doughs, we even made Play-Doh. You can make a really awesome Play-Doh with flour, water, salt, and there's a heating up mixture that you can heat up. Yeah, you can teach chocolate cake. Chocolate cake is also made with flour. Usually when I make cake, though, I do use a box because by the time you buy all of the ingredients for a cake, you probably spent more than $1 or $2, and it's not usually as good. So, but yeah, you can make sweets and cookies, obviously, cookies, and we made snickerdoodles, which is basically flour and instead of like butter, you can use like the Crisco, the white Crisco vegetable oil. So that's really a good recipe to make with just a few ingredients. There is a chocolate cake you can make called War Cake that's really good. And that one I do make from scratch. And that was with cocoa powder and that one is cool because it has like baking soda and vinegar in it. And that's what makes the cake rise. So that's really cool too. Yeah. So thank you, moderators, for helping out in the chat box. And moderators are there because I don't know how people find the channel. And obviously, we want the right people to find the channel, but sometimes people are ready to just kind of crash parties, I guess. And so thank you so much for helping out. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you who came today to my live. And if you're watching this video and you are not subscribed to my channel, then I'd appreciate it if you would go ahead and subscribe. And I will be putting up some videos about bread making. And the reason I was a little afraid. I just got my starter. I was afraid. I did take a few pictures, but I didn't put together an entire video. And I wasn't sure it was going to come out, but I'm telling you, the bread came out great. And I would recommend it for everyone to try it. If nothing else, it's a science experiment, right? It's something you can do with your family. And it shows you what the simple life, the simple life. You don't have to just go buy bread for $2 or $3 a loaf. And it's got all the preservatives and all that stuff in it. This is just good stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Mindy. You should definitely do some easy cooking recipes for sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for your kindness, and thank you for watching, and I appreciate watching all of your videos as well, and I will be watching out for those. And so today I will be making some more bread, doing something with all this stuff. And it does multiply. So there may be a point where you can also take a cup of the starter and you can put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in your freezer. And you can save it if you don't want to keep multiplying it. You can also put it in your refrigerator, and then it kind of slows down the process so that you still have starter, but you don't have to feel like every single day you have to make the bread and you have to keep beating it and you have to keep this thing going, because it can get overwhelming if you see all this stuff going and you want to use it all up. But I just wanted to share it with you, and I thought maybe it would be something you might be interested in. Teach the kids how to do it, and show them, because we don't really know what the future is going to hold. Our kids may have to learn some more, what we call pioneer skills, right? They might have to go back and learn some of these skills so that they can use what we have to live a more simple life, maybe less expensive, that kind of thing. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Goodbye.